Hello, my fabulous MFA 509 students. Here we are at Module 3. 3, that's one more than 2, 2 less than 5. Module 3, so let's get right to it. Learning modules, and go to Module 3. Okay, so this is plot part 2, the revenge. This time it's personal, right? Okay, so let's take a look at what we're doing for this module. We are basically analyzing story premise, climax, and plot resolution in a literary work. That's something that we're going to be working on. And we're going to apply these concepts. Yay! In original narrative work. So we're going to be doing, you get to do some work. Yay! Fantastic. About your own stuff. Right. Alright, so we're going to just kind of go through what is the video of the how to do stuff. I do have one little thing we're going to cover as far as an example of an analysis of the story premise. Just to let you know that is a thing that we're going to be doing in this video a little bit later on. Okay, so let's move on to the next part. Okay, again, go ahead and read through this module. I'm not going to do that here, but go ahead and read through this as it will kind of understand what we're doing more for this module. Again, this video is more of a how-to. All right, then we move on to the reading of the resources. Okay, now, I want to show you this in the video because this one's a little tricky at first if you're not sure how to do it. We have some chapters here, in an ebook, and how you access this, you'll note that it's chapters 8, 10, and 12 through 15. Now, it's a little tricky, not really, just like if anything. So we're going to click on it here, and it's going to take us to this wonderful page, okay? And you're like, okay, now what do I do? Well, it's an ebook, so we actually have the ebook down here. You're like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be reading chapters 8, 10, 12, and 15. Where are those? Okay, so actually, if you look under here, you can see there's different, whatever. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to click on like part 2. Click on that little right there. Oh, there are our chapters. Da, 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 da. So one of the chapters we have to read is chapter 8. So if you click on chapter 8, that'll take us over to the actual chapter. Bum, 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 bum. See that? Ah, okay. So you're going to read these chapters. Okay, and that's how you access them. That's why I wanted to show you that. So you're going to read chapters 8, 10, 12, and 15. And you're going to need to do this because, I mean, again, these are just great ideas to help you with the understanding of the overall whatever. But you're going to need to incorporate the stuff from the chapters in the writing assignment for this week. So it's important that you read that. There's also a video here, and if you click on the video, it takes us to a new page, and I think it says it has to. I looked at this before. Basically, it may say, hey, you have to click on somewhere to acknowledge that you're going through Southern New Hampshire's permission to get to this. So if there's something you have to click on to get to there, and then you watch this video. Both of those are good things that I would do before you do anything else. Okay. Now, this module, we're going to take a pause right here. This module also has another lesson that's not in here, and it's actually found under the discussions. So this is one that I created. We've been asked to do that. So it's under general questions. So if you're going to go to general questions, you will see there is module 3 optional lesson. And again, I wanted to make this a personal thing that would be interesting to you. Again, this is part of the discussion board. So I altered the assignment just a little bit. So if you click on this, this is kind of what I wanted. This is kind of like an introspection kind of a thing. And so, in the previous announcement, I posted a video which explored the concept of a pantser versus a plotter approach when it comes to writing. That's the video that I posted in the announcements last week. Okay. The optional lesson for Module 3 is to consider the following questions and then posting a response in this discussion thread. So the prompts, again, these are very personal. I mean, not like you're sharing your soul to the world, but just a way I want you to look at it. When thinking about the way you approach writing, do you consider yourself to be a pantser, making it up as you go, or a plotter, outlining everything ahead of time? If you are a combination of the two, which side do you lean towards more? Okay? And then please give an example of how you approach writing from the past. So, I would guess if you're in a creative writing master's level course, you have written stuff in the past. Think about how you approach writing stories in the past, or any kind of creative writing in the past. Did you just sit down and just go, or did you kind of plot everything out and have an idea where you want to do it? Just look at that. Again, there's no wrong or right answer here. This is just a matter of analyzing how you approach the writing process. Okay. The next step is also, what are the advantages and disadvantages of both approaches? This is kind of more of an opinion thing, just from your point of view. What's the advantages of just making it up as you go? versus outlining it. And there are disadvantages to both. Okay, just again, your opinion. This is again a goal just to help you understand this, but also your fellow classmates to consider the different ways of approaching writing. Again, there's no one right way to approach. It really kind of depends on you as an individual. Although you should keep an open mind that maybe there are some approaches, there are some advantages about maybe alternate a little bit. If you're struggling, if you've ever kind of struggled with something, maybe there's some tools out there that will help you move things along. Something to consider. Okay, so let's go back to the module and see where we left off here. Let's go back to module 3. Okay, so we talked about the readings and the resources, and then before we get started, let's click on that point. Okay. Okay. In addition, please pay attention to your instructor's announcement. This is the one you're watching right now, as it includes a short, non-graded lesson that will help you prepare for this module. That's what I just showed you. That was in the general discussion. That's what we just looked at. Okay? Fantastic. Moving on. Okay, so let's talk about, there's a discussion board. So we have the discussion board in the general discussion board, but we also have one in the module. And this is an analysis of plot. Okay? So basically, again, using the the concepts discussed in the required chapters, and I showed you how to access that before. You're going to analyze a novel from your curated list. Okay, focus on the premise of the story, the climax, and how the plot is resolved. Also explore how the subplots were incorporated into the narrative and resolved. Okay, so choose a work from your curated list. It should be a different work from the ones you've focused on in previous modules. So school wants you to kind of step out of your comfort zone and try something a little different, and then you're going to answer these questions. Okay? So just to talk about a general, we'll take just a little pause here to talk about a general concept or an outline of a analysis of a plot for a work of art, a work. I was thinking about what work may be out there, may be known by everyone, it may say something about me. But I decided to talk a little bit about one of my favorite stories, and this is just an absolutely great story. Actually, this is one of those where I like the movie better than I like the book, and it is The Princess Bride. Ooh, if you've never seen this movie, why? Just saying, why not? It's one of the, I just absolutely love this. This came out when I was in high school. It's a great, fun movie that had all sorts of wonderful elements. The book is a little different, the way that it approaches the narrative, but so just to kind of, if you're not familiar with the story, I think most people are familiar with the story. The exposition, basically you've got this country, you've got Princess Buttercup and Wesley, and he's her servant, and they fall in love, but he's got nothing, and so he decides that he's going to go seek his fortune so he can be worthy of her. But it turns out that he gets killed. Oh, wow, sad. By the dread pirate Roberts. Sad story. So that kind of sets the story. The conflict comes when then you have Prince Humperdinck. He is the leader of the land that she lives in. And he chooses the most beautiful woman in all of the land to marry, which is Buttercup. And that she becomes the Princess Bride in that particular case. But he is a little underhanded as far as because the conflict is that he wants to marry her simply because in reality he wants to have her killed so he can blame it on a rivaling country so he can start a war. And so he hires some thugs, including I can't remember his name, Vicenzi? I don't know. Anyway, to kill her. Okay, so they capture her, they kidnap her, and they take her off. And who shows up to save her? Well, the dread pirate Roberts, the one who killed Wesley, decides to save Princess Buttercup. Well, it turns out the dread pirate Roberts is actually Wesley, and there's the story there. Okay, so the rising action is basically that Buttercup is going to marry someone she doesn't want to marry, then she gets captured, she's going to get killed to start a war, and then she gets saved, and she's finally back with Wesley, but they get captured again by Prince Humperdinck's men. Okay? And then the climax comes where basically Wesley is almost killed. He has to then storm the castle. Bye, boys, have fun storming the castle. Okay, so they storm the castle with his newfound friends to save Buttercup, and he has it out with Prince Humperdinck after a fashion. I don't really want to ruin it from there. The following action is that then they were able to run away and right off into the sunset, as it were. Now, the way this story is told, there's a lot more elements, and it's a lot of fun as far as that goes. And the resolution is that, there's a happy ending. The two are together, and they have one of the most 5 perfect kisses in the history of the world. Okay, so there's your basic, analysis of a plot. There you go. There's that. Okay. So you're going to do something similar to that, answering these questions in the discussion board, as again outlined from there. All right. And then for the assignment for this week, because, this is a graduate level class, so we gotta, right? We gotta. All right. So, for this is the application to your story. Yay, your story. Fantastic. So let's go ahead and take a look at the assignment with the rubric. Okay. For this assignment, you will apply the storytelling techniques you examined in a piece of your own writing using the concepts you identified in your post. Okay, that means the discussion post. Analyze the plot of the narrative you have already written or one that you are planning to write. Okay? Pay close attention to the plot. Describe the initial conflict, how it further complicated as the story develops, and how it is resolved. So this is something you get to do about your own piece of work. Yay! How did you structure the plot? How did you decide on the initial conflict? How did the character react to the initial conflict? What were the struggles? What were your struggles in plotting the story? Ooh, that's some good introspection right there. Again, this is a Word document. It doesn't really have, let's see, it should be at least 2 paragraphs in length. Okay, well, there you go. Okay. And there is the questions that you have to answer. And again, just as long as you evidently answer each one of these questions, you will earn full points on that. Again, important grammar, spelling, syntax, and organization. Yeah, that's an important thing. It's part of the grade. Again, we don't want to be distracted. I want to understand the words you're saying, the concept you're trying to get across. So don't blow off this, is what I'm saying. Okay. So that is the assignment for this week. Okay. And I always like a chance to look at some of my own writing now that I've kind of learned from the concepts. Go, ooh, that's really good, or ooh, man, I could have done better. Okay. So there is that one. Okay, there's our journal assignment for this week. Okay, and then, last but not least, we need to consider as a reminder that your pitch for the thing that you're working on for this class is due in the next module. Consider starting on it now. That's kind of ominous. It's just because, that's one of the main things. I mean, I think for the end, if we looked at it again at the final, go back to the main page here. I think the final thing we have to do for this class is, down here, is that you're going to be supporting a pitch with the final, the final discussion is the final assignment. You have to put a pitch and have an outline. So this next module, module 4, basically we're going to get the pitch part down. So I'll start working on that now. Okay, so that's module 3 in a glance. And again, I think this will be fun because not only do we get to look at there's some excellent readings that will help us understand more about the concept of plot. In addition, whenever we get a chance to consider what we're learning in class and apply it on a personal level with our own writing, I think that it helps it integrate more into who we are and be able to apply it. And just one last word of encouragement is, again, writers tend to be a little protective of their work. Okay, this is a general statement, a general stereotype, and sometimes a little shy about what they want to share. Look, I get it. I've been there. I am there. Okay, don't worry about it. We're all in the same boat. Okay, and be open-minded to feedback and constructive criticism. So let's be nice in our criticism, be respectful, but understand we're here to make ourselves better. Okay, but also be proud of what you've done. Okay, there's good stuff out there. I mean, let's put it out there. Be willing to kind of shop it around, as it were. Keep in mind, but be proud of what you've done and look for ways that you can even do it better in the future. So that's my encouragement for this week. So that's it. And okay, go ahead again. As always, please contact me if you have any questions or concerns. All right, have a wonderful module.